Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host Armando Venditti. Hope you guys are having a fantastic Friday afternoon. Here in Edmonton, it is 28 degrees Celsius, beautiful sunny day, and it's going to be a scorcher every weekend. I hope wherever you guys are, if it's warm, you're keeping cool. If it's raining, you're keeping dry, and you're looking after yourselves and one another. In this episode, I'm going to be doing another installment of In the Spotlight. And the group that I'm going to talk about, I did a album ranking of theirs a few weeks back, but I wanted to focus on one particular album of theirs that came out and in 2004. But that was popular. That did get attention, but I really don't think that it got the amount of attention that it deserved. So richly deserved. The group is Tears for Fears, and the album is Everybody Loves a Happy Ending. Now, bit of a background on Tears for Fears. Formed in the early 80s, the two main songwriters, main members of the band, Roland Orzabal and Kurt Smith, were friends in school. They formed Tears for Fears, releasing their debut album in 1982, The Hurting, featuring such hits as Change, Pale Shelter, Mad World, Suffer the Children, Ideas as Opiates. They had massive success with their second release, Songs from the Big Chair, released in February of 85. Massive, massive album. I have called this album a mid-80s masterpiece. And I will stand by that statement until my dying day. Because for me, Tears for Fears have always been what I call a thinking man's pop band. They are not, and were not, sorry, they were not in league with their contemporaries at the time. In the 80s, they were above their contemporaries, okay? Above them. We're talking about bands like Wham, Duran Duran, Depeche Mode, and there are many other bands. Frankie Goes to Hollywood, all these other bands that were good and were popular, but to me, Tears for Fears were leagues ahead of them. And they continued their success in 1989 with the release of The Seeds of Love. At that point, after the tour in 1990, Kurt Smith and Roland Orzabal had a parting of the ways. Kurt Smith went on to do a solo career to, in all honesty, mediocre to moderate success. Roland Orzabal kept the name Tears for Fears and recorded albums under that moniker. Elemental in 93 with the hit Break It Down Again, title track. Cold, releasing Raul and the Kings of Spain in 1995. That album did not do well. It's got to be said. Released to Epic, and the one single that was released that I know of, God's Mistake, to me was a mistake to release as a single. It did not do well. The album did not do well. He was quickly dropped from Epic. The two, Roland Orzabal and Kurt Smith, met up in 2000, talked over their issues, made a truce, reconciled, got back together and started working on new music for an album. They signed a deal with Arista Records because the head of Arista, BMG at the time, Antonio L.A. Smith, wanted to have them on the roster. However, when Antonio L.A. Reid was let go from Arista, they were also let go as part of the roster. So They signed a new deal with independent label in the US called New Door. They also signed a new management deal with Irving Azoff at Full Stop Management. They released this album under New Door, but there are available advanced pressings on red vinyl on the Arista label. But the music was not made available to the commercial public. When this album was released, everybody loves a happy ending. Sorry, it met with critical acclaim to an extent. Had two main singles: the title track, "Everybody Loves a Happy Ending," and "Closest Thing to Heaven," which was the lead-off single. There are groups that release albums and they're looked back upon as classics. Like, you have a band that will release an album and other people will say that album was that band's Dark Side of the Moon. That album was that band's A Night of the Opera. That album was that band's Bad Night of Hell. That album was that band's Sgt. Pepper. To me, in my very humble opinion, Everybody Loves a Happy Ending was Tears for Fears, Sgt. Pepper. The North American version had 12 tracks on it. The UK, Italian, and French version had 14 tracks on it. This is Tears for Fears at their sophisticated pop best. You had elements of drum programming, keyboard programming, mixed heavily with live instrumentation, drums, bass, guitar. You had songs like the title track, which starts off the album, that had rich, textured passages, textured instrumentation, different sections, different key changes. It was the one track in and of itself is everything that goes into this album is on that one track. We had the luxury of having all those elements spread out amongst the next 11 tracks on the album. You have other songs like, again, the lead-off single, Closest Thing to Heaven, which is, to me, pop confection. There's another track that is, to me, pop confection, but we'll get to that in a minute. There are hooks on this album, a lot of melodic passages that I honestly didn't think was possible for Tears for Fears to do. I mean, you have, with the lead-off single, Closest Thing to Heaven, you have a catchy hook, memorable melodic chorus, hand claps on the arrangement in the chorus to keep it moving along, to keep it memorable. Fantastic. Other songs of note on the album are Call Me Mellow, which is, to me, a feel-good, playful, romantic song about somebody singing about their girlfriend and what they love about them. And it's just, again, pop confection. Sighs of Sorrow is another track on the album that dates back to early 90s. Roland Orzabal wrote the track. He featured it on the Elemental tour. Vocalist and bassist Gaelan Dorsey, who most of you will know, worked with David Bowie at the end of his career, toured with Orzabal and provided the high vocal part for the track live. What I like about Sighs of Sorrow is it starts off in one key and one time signature, and then it has another melody come in as a counterpoint to that introductory melody. And it's just beautiful. Chris Smith does a fantastic vocal on that track. Other songs of note on this album are The Devil, which is beautifully delivered by Roland Orzabal. For me, Who Killed Tangerine is another track where it goes through different time signature changes in different sections. And at basically almost near the tail end of the track, there's a section where the lyrics go, and when you think it's all over, it ain't over. The delivery on that passage, and that vocal passage, is amazing. It's delivered in a gang style type of vocal. Maybe they're overdubbed, vocals are overdubbed, I'm not sure. But it is, again, another infectious track. The centerpiece of the album for me is track 9, called Secret World. This is them again at their Beatle-esque best. Sorry, only had 2 coffees today. Pardon me. It has a symphonic accompaniment to it, done by a symphony that is so rich and so beautiful and melodic, and it pulls you in. The song is about somebody who is singing to somebody who is important in their life, whether it be their partner, their children, their child, whatever the case may be, boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse. And he's saying to this person, nothing outside of our door matters. What matters is the world that we have created with one another, and how we, as we are together, how we let our future unfold. And anyone else can say that we're nuts, can say that we're off our rocker, that we have no idea what we're talking about. It doesn't matter, because we know that within us, we have what it takes to get along, to survive, to endure, and to make it through our lives together. And if those outside our door do not understand, then you know what? Forget them. Forget them. We don't need them. It is done in such a tasteful, melodic, rapturous, beautiful arrangement that when I hear it, it brings me to tears. It does. It truly does. I cannot get over how beautiful this track is. Other songs of note again are Ladybug and The Last Days on Earth, which ends off the album. Again, for a band that at that point had not been together as a recording unit since 1988, delivering this album in 2004 rose above everything else that was in the public consciousness musically at the time. In my, again, very humble opinion, this, for me, set the standard for other bands to follow. Okay? It was a perfect blend of modern technology meeting with live instrumentation and organic recording. It was a beautiful mix. And it's unfortunate that perhaps because it wasn't released on a major label, that it, not that it fell through the cracks. I don't want to get people up in an uproar, because I've been getting a lot of comments about people saying I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't want to say that this album went unnoticed, but I do believe that it could have garnered more attention than it did. And maybe because it wasn't on a major label, maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know. But this album, for me, was, or is, the pinnacle of this band's career. So, if you haven't listened to this album, please take the time, stream it, find it on Discogs, which I found my copy on Discogs, and I paid something like $56 due to the rate of currency exchange in Canada. This album is no longer available to buy in your local record store, at least in Canada, when I checked. You can get it on eBay. You can get it on Discogs again. You can try Amazon. You may have to pay an arm and a leg and a torso for it. If you can afford that, go for it. You will not be disappointed. So that's it for this episode. Hopefully you guys like the content. Please leave your comments down below what you think. Do you like the album? Everybody loves a happy ending. Have you heard the album? Do you like Tears for Fears? Do you think that they're overrated? Do you think that they're underrated or undervalued as a band? What do you think? Please let me know. And again, leave your comments down below. Hit like and subscribe and click the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content that I've got coming up. I'm going to be doing a taping of an episode with Peter Kent from the Lizard King channel. We're going to be taping or doing an episode on our Led Zeppelin album ranking version 2.0. So please stay tuned for that. I'm going to be doing another episode right after this on Joni Mitchell Top 5 Albums Part 2. So again, hopefully you guys are enjoying this. And please, again, let me know what you think. So for now, please take care of yourselves and one another. And I will see you very, very soon. Bye.